Your cat has been apologizing to you for years, every single day. And you've been walking right past it, like it meant nothing. Not because you're a bad owner, but because nobody ever told you what to look for. That changes right now. What you're about to hear might make you see your cat in a way you never expected. And honestly, it might change everything between you two. Think about the last time your cat did something wrong. Maybe knocked a glass off the counter, scratched the couch, hissed when you reached for them too fast. You probably felt that small sting, that quiet little hurt, and your cat just walked away. Or did they? Because here's what most people never realize. Your cat didn't walk away. Your cat came back. You just didn't know what they were saying. Cats don't apologize the way we do. No words, no puppy dog eyes, no tail between the legs. They have their own language, ancient, subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye. And for decades, most of us were never taught to read it. We assumed silence meant indifference. We assumed distance meant they didn't care. But what if everything you assumed was quietly, completely wrong? Here's something that might sit with you for a while. Scientists who study animal behavior have found that cats form deep emotional bonds with their humans. Bonds that actually mirror the kind of attachment we see in human relationships. That means when something goes wrong between you and your cat, they feel it too. Not the same way you do, but they feel it. And they respond to it, in their own way. You've probably had this moment. You're upset. Maybe you raised your voice or accidentally stepped on a paw or just had a terrible day and carried that energy into the room. And suddenly your cat appears, sits near you, doesn't demand anything, just shows up. You thought it was coincidence. It wasn't. That was your cat reading the room and choosing to stay anyway. That matters more than you know. Let me ask you something. When your cat slow blinks at you, what do you think is happening? Most people smile and move on. But that blink, that long, lazy, deliberate blink, is one of the most intimate gestures in a cat's emotional vocabulary. It means, I trust you. I am calm with you. I choose you. When it comes after a tense moment, it means something even more specific. It means, we're okay. I'm not holding this against you. And then there's the head bump. You're sitting on the couch, still a little tense from whatever happened earlier, and your cat walks over, slow and quiet, and just presses their forehead against your hand, or your leg, or your face. That's not random. Cats have scent glands in their heads. When they bump you, they are marking you as theirs, not out of possession, but out of belonging. They are saying, you are still my person. Here's where it gets really interesting. Cats have a concept that animal behaviorists call social repair. It's the instinct to restore harmony after conflict. And cats do this, not just with other cats, but with the humans they love. The difference is that their repair gestures are so quiet, so woven into normal behavior, that we dismiss them as nothing. We're looking for the dramatic apology, and they're giving us the real one. Think about how many times your cat has done something small after a difficult moment between you two. Brought a toy and dropped it near your feet, curled up unusually close, started grooming you out of nowhere. These aren't random acts. They follow a pattern of reconnection. Your cat is doing the emotional work of coming back to you, and most of the time, we don't even notice. But now you will. We're just getting started, because understanding how cats apologize is only the first layer. Underneath it is something much bigger, a whole emotional world your cat has been living in, right next to you, that most owners never fully see. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every small gesture becomes a conversation. Every quiet moment becomes a bridge. Stay with me. What comes next might be the piece you've been missing for years. Now that you know what to look for, let's go deeper. Because cats don't just apologize once and move on. They have a whole sequence, a quiet ritual of repair that happens in stages. And each stage tells you something different about where your cat is emotionally. Miss one stage, and you might think nothing is happening. But catch all of them, You start to realize your cat has been communicating with you in full sentences this whole time. The first stage usually happens right after the conflict. Your cat disappears. Not forever, just for a little while. They find a corner, a shelf, a quiet spot. And you think they're sulking. Or worse, that they don't care. But what they're actually doing is regulating. Cats need a moment to process intensity. That retreat isn't rejection, it's preparation. They're getting ready to come back to you. And they always come back. The second stage is the approach. And this is where most owners miss everything. Because the approach is never dramatic. Your cat won't run to you. They'll walk slowly, casually, like they just happened to end up near you. That's intentional. Cats avoid direct confrontation, even in reconciliation. The casual approach is a peace offering wrapped in nonchalance. They're giving you an out, no pressure, just presence. That's actually incredibly considerate. Stage 3 is proximity. Your cat gets close, but not too close. Not yet. They might sit at the edge of the couch instead of in your lap. They might lay on the floor near your feet instead of beside you. This is them testing the emotional temperature of the room. Are you still tense? Are you open? They're reading you before they fully commit. And honestly, how many humans do you know who are that emotionally careful with someone they've hurt? And then comes stage 4, the touch. This is the one that breaks you open if you're paying attention. A slow, gentle contact. A paw on your arm. A chin resting on your knee. A full body press against your leg. That touch is deliberate. Cats are not casual about physical contact the way dogs are. When a cat touches you after tension, it is a conscious choice. It is them saying with their whole body, I am here. I am yours. I am sorry. Now here's something that surprises most people when they first hear it. Cats actually watch your face, constantly. Research has shown that domestic cats are remarkably attuned to human facial expressions. They respond differently to happy faces versus upset ones. So when your cat approaches you after a conflict and looks up at your face before making contact, they're not just being cute. They're checking on you. They want to know if you're okay. Let that sink in. There's another gesture that gets overlooked almost every time. Grooming. When your cat licks your hand or your hair after a difficult moment, most people laugh it off. But allo-grooming, that's the technical term for grooming another being, is one of the highest expressions of trust and affection in feline social behavior. Cats only groom those they consider family. When they do it after tension, they're not just being affectionate. They're actively rebuilding the bond, strand by strand. Let's talk about purring for a second, because purring is complicated. Most of us learned early that a purring cat is a happy cat, and that's sometimes true. But cats also purr when they're anxious, when they're in pain, and this is the part nobody talks about, when they're trying to self-soothe after an emotionally charged moment. So when your cat climbs on you and starts purring after a conflict, they may be calming themselves down while also calming you. That's not nothing. That's connection. Here's a moment I want you to really picture. You've had a hard day. You said something sharp, moved too fast, disrupted your cat's peace. Later, you're sitting quietly, and your cat comes to you, not asking for food, not heading for the door. Just comes and settles near you, closes their eyes, breathes slowly. They are showing you that despite everything, they feel safe with you. That is the most complete apology a living being can offer. Safety. Chosen freely. By now, you're probably starting to replay moments from your past with your cat. All those small gestures you thought were random. And you're seeing them differently. That's exactly what should be happening. Because this isn't just about understanding apologies. It's about understanding your cat's interior life. The emotional richness that was always there, quietly waiting for you to notice. And we're only halfway through. The next part goes even deeper into what your cat is really feeling. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention. Guilt. Can cats actually feel something close to guilt? For a long time, scientists said no. They said cats lack the cognitive complexity for self-conscious emotions. But more recent behavioral research is starting to tell a different story. Not guilt exactly as we experience it, but something functionally similar. A social awareness that something went wrong, and a drive to fix it. That drive is real, and you've seen it. You just didn't have the words for it. Watch your cat after they've done something they know upset you. Really watch. You'll often notice a very specific set of behaviors. Ears slightly back, body lower than usual, movement slower, more careful, eyes that track you without making full contact. This is not fear, not if you've never hurt your cat. This is something more nuanced. It's social sensitivity. Your cat is reading the consequence of their action on your emotional state and adjusting accordingly. That's more self-aware than we give them credit for. There's a behavior called the elevator butt. And yes, that's actually what animal behaviorists call it. When a cat raises their hindquarters toward you, it's an invitation for social bonding. It mimics the greeting behavior kittens use with their mothers. When your cat does this after a tense moment, they're reaching back into their most primal vocabulary of trust. They're saying, "I see you as someone safe, someone I return to, the way I returned to the first warmth I ever knew." And speaking of mothers, the relationship cats have with their human owners often mirrors the mother-kitten bond in fascinating ways. Adult cats essentially never stop seeing their trusted humans through that early emotional lens. Which means when something disrupts the harmony between you, it lands differently for your cat than a conflict with a stranger would. It touches something deep, something old. And the repair they seek is not just social, it's almost primal. They need to know the bond is intact. This is why cats sometimes become unusually clingy after a conflict. Not all cats, every cat is different. But some will follow you from room to room, sit outside the bathroom door, appear every time you move. People often misread this as neediness, but it's actually a form of bond checking. Your cat is confirming, over and over, that you're still there, still accessible, still theirs. It's the feline equivalent of asking, "Are we okay?" without being able to say the words out loud. Let's slow down for a moment, because I think there's something worth sitting with here. We spend so much time wondering if our cats love us, searching for proof, looking for the big, obvious signs. But what if love, real love, animal love, doesn't announce itself? What if it shows up quietly, in a slow blink across the room, in a paw resting on your knee, in a cat who always finds their way back to wherever you are? What if you've been loved like that for years and just needed someone to point it out? Now let's get into some of the less obvious apology signals, the ones that even experienced cat owners miss. One of them is the gift. Yes, some cats bring their humans objects after a conflict. A toy, a hair tie, something they found. This behavior comes from the same instinct cats use when they bring prey to trusted companions. They're sharing resources. In cat language, sharing your most valuable possessions with someone is an act of profound social generosity. It means, "I want good things for you." Another overlooked signal is mirroring. After tension, some cats will begin to mirror your body language, sitting when you sit, relaxing when you relax, orienting their body toward yours. Mirroring in animal behavior is a sign of social attunement. It's your cat synchronizing with you, saying, without words, "I am with you. I am following your lead. I trust where you are going." It's one of the quietest and most beautiful things a cat can do. And it happens more than you think. Here's one more that catches people off guard: vulnerability. After a conflict, some cats will expose their belly. Not necessarily asking to be touched, but showing it. The belly is a cat's most vulnerable area. Exposing it is an act of radical trust. When your cat does this near you after a difficult moment, they are not being careless. They are making a deliberate choice to be open with you, to show you that despite the disruption, Their guard is still down around you. That is enormous. We've covered a lot of ground. And what I want you to notice is the pattern beneath all of it. Every single apology gesture your cat makes, every slow blink, every gentle touch, every quiet approach, is really the same message delivered in different forms. It says, I choose this. I choose you. I choose us. Your cat doesn't have the words, but they have the intention. An intention expressed consistently over years, over a lifetime. That's not instinct. That's devotion. And we're not done yet. Let's shift perspective for a moment. Because this conversation isn't just about what your cat does after conflict. It's about what you do. How you respond to those quiet apology gestures matters more than most people realize. Your cat is putting themselves out there, slowly, carefully, vulnerably, and your response either opens the door wider or quietly closes it. Not forever. Cats are resilient, but over time, your reactions shape how safe your cat feels, bringing their whole self to you. Here's what closing the door looks like. And most people do this completely by accident. Your cat approaches after a conflict, slow, careful, reading you, and you're still a little upset. So you ignore them, or you pick them up before they're ready, or you talk too loudly, move too fast, disrupt the careful approach they were building, and your cat retreats. You think, see, they don't care. But what actually happened is that you missed the outstretched hand, and your cat noticed. Opening the door looks completely different from what most people expect. It's not about being warm or enthusiastic. It's about becoming quiet. When your cat begins their careful approach, you go still. You breathe slower. You let your shoulders drop. You stop being a person with an agenda and become simply a place that feels safe to land. Your cat feels that shift before they even reach you, and they complete the journey toward you because of it. You didn't do nothing. You did everything. Cats remember. Not the way we remember. Not with narrative or chronology, but in their bodies, in their nervous systems. Every gentle interaction leaves a trace. Every respected boundary adds a layer of trust so thin you'd never see it, but so real you'd feel its absence immediately. And over months, over years, those invisible layers stack into something solid. Something your cat stands on when they decide, after conflict, to come back to you. You built that ground. Every quiet day, every unhurried moment, you built it. And here's the thing about cats over 40. Not the cats, you. The humans who are 40 and older tend to bring something different to their relationships with their pets. A little more patience, a little more willingness to sit quietly, a little less need to be entertained. You've lived enough to know that the best connections aren't loud, they're steady. And that steadiness, your cat feels it every single day. It's probably why your bond is as deep as it is right now. Let's talk about what happens when the repair doesn't come quickly. Sometimes after a significant conflict, a vet visit gone wrong, an accidental injury, a major disruption in the home, your cat's withdrawal lasts longer than usual. Days sometimes, and it's easy to spiral into worry. Did I break something? Do they hate me now? But what's actually happening is that your cat is processing a larger emotional event. Give them time. Keep showing up. Keep being safe. They're working through something. So are you. Patience in these moments is not waiting. It's a form of active communication. When you leave food near their hiding spot without making a sound. When you sit close enough to be felt, but far enough to give room. When you keep your voice low, even though no one is listening. Your cat is listening. They track consistency the way sailors once tracked stars. As something to navigate by. Something to trust when everything else is uncertain. Be consistent enough, and your cat will always find their way back to you. Now I want to tell you something about older cats specifically. Cats who have lived with the same person for many years develop what researchers describe as a refined social map of that person. They know your moods, your rhythms, your tells. An older cat who has spent a decade with you isn't just reacting to the present moment. They're drawing on years of accumulated data about who you are. Their apology gestures are more targeted, more precise, because they know exactly what reaches you. Think about that for a second. Your cat has been studying you. Not the way a scientist studies a subject, but the way someone studies a person they love. Learning what makes you tense, what makes you soften, when you need space and when you need company. And they use that knowledge, quietly, consistently, to navigate life with you. That's not instinct. Instinct doesn't refine itself over 10 years based on one specific human. That's relationship. That's history. That's yours. We're at a halfway point. And I want to ask you something honest. When you started this video, you probably thought it was about cat behavior, about signals and gestures and what certain movements mean, and it is that. But it's also something else. It's about what it means to be in a relationship with a being who cannot use your language, who has to find other ways to reach you, and who keeps trying. Every single day. That persistence, quiet, unannounced, consistent, is something worth sitting with for a moment. Let's go somewhere a little more personal now. Because I think if you've made it this far, you're not just curious about cat behavior in general. You're thinking about your cat. The specific one. The one who sleeps in a particular spot. Who has a specific sound they make only for you. Who shows up at the exact moment you need company without being called. You're thinking about your cat and you're quietly asking, does my cat do these things? Have I been missing them? The answer is almost certainly yes. Every cat expresses these gestures differently. A bold, confident cat might make their approach quickly, almost casually. So casual you'd never guess it was intentional. A shy, sensitive cat might take hours to complete the same approach, moving in increments so small you'd need to be very still to notice. Neither is more loving than the other. They're just different emotional styles. Just like people. And just like with people, understanding the style is what allows you to receive what's actually being offered. There's a particular kind of person I want to speak to right now. The one who came to cats late. Maybe you were a dog person for decades. Maybe you never thought of yourself as a cat person at all. And then something happened. Life shifted, the house changed, and suddenly there was a cat. And then, without quite knowing when or how, there was a bond. If that's you, I want you to know. That bond is not accidental. Your cat assessed you carefully, and they decided you were worth the risk. That's not nothing. That's everything. And if you've had your cat for a long time, 10, 12, 15 years, you already know things about this bond that no article can fully explain. You know the specific weight of them on your lap. You know the sound of their breathing when they're deeply asleep. You know the particular way they look at you when they want something versus when they just want to be near you. You've learned each other. That learning didn't happen by accident. It happened because you both kept showing up. Day after day. Year after year. Now let's talk about something that often gets tangled up in this conversation. Forgiveness. We talk a lot about whether cats apologize. But the other side of that question is just as important. Do cats forgive? And here, the research and the lived experience of millions of cat owners align. Yes, cats forgive. Not always immediately, not always completely after very serious trauma, but in the context of normal life, normal conflict, normal human imperfection. Yes, they come back. They always come back. That is forgiveness in action. What makes feline forgiveness remarkable is that it's not conditional in the way human forgiveness sometimes is. Your cat doesn't forgive you, and then bring it up again 3 weeks later. They don't hold the mistake as leverage. Once they've completed their repair sequence, once they've approached, touched, settled near you, the event is essentially closed for them. They're not carrying it. They've moved back into the present. And if you think about it, that's actually something worth learning from. Not just about cats, about everything. There's a particular moment that many long-term cat owners describe when I ask them about this. It usually goes something like this. They had a terrible day, or a terrible period, weeks, months of difficulty. And through all of it, their cat was just there. Not doing anything dramatic, not demanding attention, just present, sleeping nearby, appearing in doorways, sitting on the other end of the couch. And somewhere in the middle of all that quiet, consistent presence, something in the owner shifted. They felt less alone, more held, more okay. There's a reason you breathe differently when your cat is on your lap. Not metaphorically, literally. Your respiratory rate slows. Your heart follows. Researchers have measured it. But here's the part that gets overlooked. Your cat's body is doing the same thing. Their breathing synchronizes with yours. Their heart rate settles. You are regulating each other simultaneously, without a single word exchanged. Two nervous systems finding the same quiet frequency. That's not companionship. That's something older than language. Something we don't have a clean word for. And yet we still sometimes wonder if they really care. We catch ourselves thinking, maybe it's just warmth they're after. Maybe it's just habit. Maybe I'm projecting. And I understand that doubt. It's a very human thing, to second-guess love when it comes in a form we didn't expect. But here's what I keep coming back to. Your cat has options. They can sleep anywhere. They can find warmth anywhere. They choose you. Specifically, repeatedly, deliberately. At some point, the evidence becomes too consistent to dismiss. Here's what I want you to take from everything we've covered so far. Not a list, not a technique, just this. Your cat has been in a conversation with you since the day they arrived. A long, continuous, mostly wordless conversation about safety and trust and what it means to belong to someone. You've been responding to that conversation. Imperfectly, humanly, but genuinely. And your cat has been listening to every response. The fact that they're still there, still returning, still choosing your lap over every other surface, that's the conversation going well. Let's talk about something that comes up a lot when people start understanding their cats more deeply. Regret. Not dramatic regret. Just that quiet, soft ache of thinking about all the moments you missed. All the apologies you walked past. All the times your cat came to repair something, and you were too distracted, too tired, too caught up in your own world to notice. If you're feeling that right now, I want you to sit with it for just a second. And then, I want you to let it go. Here's why. Your cat does not audit your history with them. There is no running total of missed signals or distracted afternoons. What your cat holds onto is not a record of your failures. It's a felt sense of who you are overall. And who you are overall is someone they keep choosing. Someone they return to. Someone whose presence, even imperfect, even distracted, still feels like the right place to be. You don't have to have been perfect. You just have to keep showing up. You already know how to do that. You've been doing it all along. Here's what most people never consider. You have your own apology language with your cat. It developed quietly, without you designing it. The way you lower your voice after a tense moment. The specific sound you make when you accidentally startle them. The particular gentleness that comes into your hands when you've moved too fast. Your cat knows these signals. They've cataloged them over years. When they appear, your cat's body relaxes before the gesture is even complete. They recognize your repair. They were waiting for it. They always knew it was coming. Watch yourself the next time you accidentally hurt your cat. Not to judge, just to notice. You'll probably go still. Soften your voice. Offer your hand low and open. Give them a moment before you try to make contact again. You didn't read that in a book. Nobody taught you. You learned it from years of paying attention to what your cat responds to. That's fluency. Quiet, practical, earned fluency in a language that isn't yours by birth. And the fact that you developed it at all says something true about the kind of person you are. Here's a concept from animal behavior research that I find quietly profound. It's called mutual gaze. When two beings, human and animal, make sustained, relaxed eye contact, something happens neurologically for both of them. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, increases in both, not just in the human. In both. Your cat looks at you with slow, soft eyes, and something chemical shifts inside them too. They are not just tolerating your gaze. They are bonding through it. Every single time. That slow blink is a kiss. Receive it that way. Let's talk about the cats who are harder to read. The ones who seem aloof, independent, disinterested. The ones who don't do the dramatic head bumps or the belly exposures. If you have one of these cats, you may have spent years wondering if the bond is really there. And I want to speak directly to that quiet uncertainty. The aloof cat is not an unloving cat. They are a cat whose apology language is even more subtle, more compressed. You have to look closer. But it's there. It is absolutely there. For the more reserved cat, the apology might look like this. They walk into the room and choose the spot closest to you. Not on you, near you. They orient their body in your direction while appearing to look at nothing. They stay in the same room longer than usual after tension. These are not loud gestures. But in the vocabulary of a cat who rarely makes loud gestures, they are everything. They are the equivalent of another cat's full body press. Same message, different volume. Learn your cat's volume. It changes everything. And for the cats who are very demonstrative, the ones who follow you everywhere, who cry at closed doors, who drape themselves across your face at 3 a.m., their apology language tends to be just as intense, overwhelming even. After conflict, these cats may become almost urgently affectionate, climbing on you, vocalizing, refusing to let you out of their sight. It can feel like too much. But underneath the intensity is the same thing that drives the quiet cat's subtle approach. The need to know the bond is safe. The need to know you're still there. What I find most moving about all of this is the universality of it. Across breeds, across personalities, across age and history and temperament, every cat, in their own way, reaches back toward the people they love after disruption. Every single one. The feral cat who took 2 years to let you touch them. The rescue with the complicated past. The kitten who has known nothing but safety. They all do it, because the drive to repair connection isn't learned behavior. It's written into them. Into the part that chose domesticity, that chose us. Something has shifted in this conversation. I don't know exactly where it happened for you. Maybe early, maybe just now. But somewhere between the beginning and here, this stopped being information and became something more personal. That's how it works when the subject is real. When it touches something you actually live with. Your cat hasn't changed. The gestures they make haven't changed. But the lens you're carrying now is different. And a different lens doesn't just change what you see. It changes what becomes possible between you. Before we move into the final stretch, there's one more layer I want to add. Because everything we've talked about, the gestures, the sequences, the quiet language of repair, it all assumes something. It assumes your cat feels safe enough to apologize. And that safety doesn't come from a perfect home or expensive toys or the right food. It comes from one thing: predictability. Your cat needs to know, at a bone-deep level, that you are someone whose reactions they can anticipate. Someone consistent. Someone safe to return to. Predictability sounds simple, but it's actually one of the hardest things to offer another being, human or animal. It means that when you're tired, you're still gentle. When you're frustrated, you're still safe. When life gets hard, the fundamentals don't change. Your cat is not asking for perfection. They're asking for consistency. And the beautiful thing is, if you've had your cat for years and they still come back to you after conflict, you've already been offering that. More than you probably give yourself credit for. Now I want to talk about something that sits at the intersection of cat behavior and human grief. Because many people watching this have loved a cat who is no longer here. And if that's you, I want you to know that this conversation is for you too. Everything your cat did, every slow blink, every head bump, every quiet approach after a difficult moment, was real. It counted. It mattered. The bond you had was not a lesser version of love because it crossed species. It was just love, full and complete and yours. And for those of you who have a cat right now, one who is aging, slowing down, sleeping more, needing more, this is the time to receive every gesture with full attention. The apologies, the repair sequences, the quiet presence. Receive them consciously. Let them land. Don't be too busy, too distracted, too caught in the noise of daily life to feel what is being offered to you. These moments are not endless. Nothing living is endless. But they are here right now. And right now is the only place any of this actually happens. Here's something I want you to try. Tonight, or whenever you next sit quietly with your cat, just watch. Don't reach for them. Don't call to them. Just be still and available, and watch what they do. Watch where they choose to be in the room relative to you. Watch their eyes. Watch whether they orient toward you when they settle. Watch for the small, quiet choices they make about proximity and contact. You will see something you've seen 100 times before, but this time, you'll know what it means, and it will feel different. If you are still here with me at this point in the video, I want to take a second to say something directly to you. Not about cats, about you. You showed up for this. You spent this time learning something about a creature you love. That's not nothing. That's actually a beautiful thing about the kind of person you are. And if it feels right to you, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel and come back every day. Because we talk about things like this here. Real things. Things that matter to the people who love their animals deeply. The people who find this channel tend to be a specific kind of person. They're not looking for tricks or hacks or quick fixes. They want to understand. They want to go deeper. They want the relationship with their cat to be as real and as conscious as possible. If that sounds like you, and I think it does, or you wouldn't still be here, then you're exactly who this channel was made for. Now, let's get back to something important. Because there's one final piece of this puzzle that ties everything together. That final piece is this: reciprocity. Everything your cat does to repair the bond with you, they're also watching to see if you repair it back, not with grand gestures, with the same quiet language they use. A softened voice, a slow approach, an open hand offered at their level. Time spent simply being in the same space without agenda. When you meet your cat's repair gestures with your own, when the reconnection becomes mutual, something in the relationship deepens in a way that's hard to describe, but impossible to miss. Reciprocity over time becomes rhythm, and rhythm becomes the texture of your life together. The morning routine where they appear the moment you wake, the evening ritual where they find their spot as you settle in, the specific sounds they make only in your presence. These rhythms didn't happen by accident. They were built, slowly, through thousands of small moments of mutual repair, through conflicts resolved quietly, through trust extended and honored, through two very different kinds of beings deciding, again and again, to figure each other out. We are almost at the end now. And I want you to carry something forward from everything we've covered. Not a list of behaviors to memorize, not a checklist of gestures to watch for. Just this: your cat has a rich, genuine emotional life. They experience disruption, and they seek repair. They love imperfectly, and they forgive completely. They study you the way you study them. And every single day, in ways both visible and invisible, they choose you. That choice deserves to be seen. You are starting to see it. Don't stop now. We've traveled a long way together in this conversation, and what I want to do now is not summarize. Summaries flatten things. What I want to do is let everything we've talked about settle into something simpler, something you can carry without effort. Because the best understanding doesn't live in your head. It lives in how you move through a room, in how you pause when your cat approaches, in the quality of attention you bring to the small, ordinary moments that make up a life shared with another being. Think about the first time you brought your cat home, or the first time they let you touch them, if they came to you with a complicated past. There was a moment, you probably remember it, when something shifted, when the wariness gave way, when they stayed instead of retreating. You didn't fully understand what had happened then, but you felt it. That feeling was the beginning of a language being built between you. Everything since has been more of that language. More complex, more layered, more yours. The apologies your cat offers you are not separate from that language. They are the most intimate part of it. Because apology, real apology, in any species, requires vulnerability. It requires the willingness to reach towards someone after rupture, not knowing for certain how they'll respond. Your cat does that. Quietly, carefully, consistently. They reach toward you, and the fact that you're here, learning to recognize that reach, means you are reaching back. Maybe you always have been. Maybe you just needed someone to say it out loud. There's something that happens in long relationships, human or animal, that doesn't have a clean name. It's the moment when you stop needing the other person to be different. When you stop wishing they communicated more clearly, more loudly, more like you. When you start receiving them as they actually are, in their actual language, at their actual volume. That moment is an arrival. And I think for a lot of you, something in this video has moved you a little closer to that arrival with your cat. That matters. More than you know. Your cat is not a mystery to be solved. They are a relationship to be tended. And like all relationships worth having, this one asks something of you. Not perfection, not expertise, just presence. Just the willingness to look up from whatever you're doing when a small, warm body appears at the edge of the room. Just the willingness to be still for a moment and let them find their way to you. That's it. That's the whole practice. Everything else grows from that one simple, daily choice to be available. I want to tell you something about the cats who have lived long, deeply bonded lives with one person. What researchers and veterinarians who work with senior cats describe again and again is this. These cats are calm. Not sedated, not defeated. Calm. The deep, settled calm of a being who has spent years feeling fundamentally safe, who has experienced conflict and repair so many times that they no longer fear the conflict. Because they know, from years of evidence, that the repair always comes. That is what you build. That is what you've been building. And when the time comes, as it comes for all of us who love animals, when you are sitting with your cat in their last days, or remembering them in the quiet afterward, what you will feel most is not the conflicts, not the knocked-over glasses or the scratched furniture or the 4 a.m. wake-ups. What you will feel is the weight of them on your chest, the specific sound of their purr, the way they looked at you across a room, the 1,000 small moments when they chose you. Those moments are being made right now, today, in your house. Don't miss them. So here is what I want to leave you with. Not advice, not a technique, just a reframe. Every time your cat comes to you after a difficult moment, every slow approach, every gentle touch, every quiet settling near you, they are not just apologizing. They are renewing something. They are saying, with their whole body, in the only language they have, this matters to me. You matter to me. I am choosing this, again, right now. That renewal happens every single day, multiple times a day. You just have to be paying attention to receive it. If this video has meant something to you, if something in here landed in a way that felt true, I want to ask you to do something. Share it with 5 people who love their cats. Not because it's content that needs views, but because the people in your life who have this bond deserve to see it more clearly too. And leave a comment below, a real one. Tell me something about your cat. A moment, a gesture, something small they do that you've never quite had words for until now. I read them, and I want to know. Also, tell me what you want to explore next. What question about your cat keeps you up at night? What behavior have you never fully understood? What part of this bond do you want to go deeper into? Leave it in the comments and it might become our next video, because this channel grows the way good relationships grow, by paying attention to what matters to the people in it. Your cat has been paying attention to you for years. Now it's your turn. Go home to them. Be still. Let them find you. They will. They always do.